Hello, and welcome to the Libri Labra Book Club. I am joined today by my husband, John, aka BookTube hubby, and book club VIP member, Tom. And before we jump into what we read for November, I just want to quickly say if you ever want to join us on the video discussion, you can do that by becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/LibriLabra. There's a few other perks that you get. You'll get a custom bookmark. You get priority responses on any YouTube comments. You get to help us select what book we read each month. You'll be in a rotation, and you'll also be part of an exclusive Facebook chat. So again, there's some other perks and some other tiers, so just go ahead and check it out at patreon.com/LibriLabra. For the month of November, we read Harlem Shuffle by Colson Whitehead, and we're going to just talk a little bit about our initial thoughts, and then after that, we will jump into spoiler territory. But I think this was your pick, right, Tom?
Mine, yep.
Yes. So I guess maybe tell us a little bit about why you selected it. Uh-oh.
Excuse us, we're having some technical difficulties.
Tom's a little choppy. Let's see if there's anything that we can do.
Oh, there we go.
There you are.
I'm back. Yeah.
Sorry about that. You're a little choppy. I don't know if you need to do anything. I guess we'll see if
I probably do, but it's too late now.
So tell us a little bit about what made you pick Harlem Shuffle as one of your options.
I picked it because I had read his Underground Railroad and I loved it. And so I said, well, this is new, and it was getting good reviews. So I said, well, let's check this new one out and see what he does with it. So that's the reason.
Did you just happen to come across it, or was it like an NPR thing, or?
I don't remember where I encountered it. It could have been just like, it could have just said, hey, Colson Whitehead has a new book out, and here it is. So it's likely NPR, but I don't really browse the site as much as I listen to their podcasts. So I don't listen to the book podcast. So who knows? So.
Well, now that you bring it up, I think I do recall Goodreads saying, "And hey, since you read this, you might like this."
Mm-hmm.
So
I know.
I may have been one of those instances.
Like I had already been hearing about it, and then it was a book of the month choice, so I ended up picking it. I think I already had it by the time.
Awards too.
Yeah.
Very nice. All of this.
So we can jump into initial thoughts, and then we'll do spoilers. Did you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. I didn't know what I was getting into because I didn't read any of the synopses, and I just wanted to.
That's find really out. Good though.
I don't like doing that anymore. I just even when she she starts reading the back of the book to me, I'm like, stop! Why are you doing this to me? You're forcing this on me, and I don't want it.
Right.
But I was just excited for it going in because I was excited for the story, and I did enjoy what Colson Whitehead had put forth before, and I dove in willingly.
But what were your initial thoughts about the book?
Oh, when I got into it?
Yes.
Oh, no, I was, again, I don't know, because I now have a full, solid, cohesive thought about the book now that completely overrides what I thought about when I opened it the first time.
Okay, but what?
I'm trying to think about it. Hang on.
Okay, while you take a second to do that.
Premium content, folks.
Oh, I didn't finish it because I got it from the library and time ran out. But I had started Nickel Boys, which is also by Colson Whitehead, and my friend had been encouraging me to read that, and I'm looking forward to revisiting that and finishing that one. But it was pretty interesting. I only got I don't know, maybe a few chapters in, but it was still really good. You have no initial thoughts?
I mean, I'm sure I did, but I don't know. Again, I was just I went into it thinking I didn't know what I was getting into. So when I started reading, I didn't have any judgments. I was just accepting what was in front of me.
Okay, but then you read it. So what did you think of it after you read it?
Oh, after the whole book? If you want my final thoughts.
I don't want. I don't know why you're being like this today. I don't rating.
Might be
I
like
just want to
anything.
did you enjoy the book? Did
I
you not
did enjoy
enjoy
the
the book?
book.
Did you like the writing? Was it interesting? Did you like?
Okay, so I just say that because of the wit that Colson had shown in the Underground Railroad, even though it was a more serious book, I enjoyed this for its levity,
Mhm.
and yet it was still done in such a way that still, it was written really well.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop there. You guys, I'm gonna talk a lot about it. If you
Just you wait.
It's not initial thoughts anymore.
Yeah.
So I was really eager to read this because of it taking place in New York and taking place in Harlem. And, it was hard to, even though it's sort of different topics, it was kind of hard to read this and not think of the Bronx Tale. I don't know if you've ever seen that, Tom.
No, I've not seen
Okay. I'm going to have to rewatch it. But it takes place during the 60s in the Bronx, which is not that far from Harlem.
Which is where this is set. Yes,
Right.
gotcha.
Yeah. So it just like scenes from that just kind of like just the setting, I guess, kept popping up in my head. But I wasn't really sure where this was going. And I don't know if I missed something because Book of the Month describes this as having an unreliable narrator, or maybe I just don't know the definition of unreliable narrator. Because I guess when I hear unreliable narrator, I'm usually expecting it to be told in first person, which this wasn't. So I don't know. But like there was definitely a lot going on. I think I had a little bit of trouble keeping track of all the characters because I felt like there was a lot of characters.
Mhm.
I have that trouble all the time.
So I think that kind of messed me up a little bit. I tried my best, but like just different people were connected to each other in different ways. So I'm not sure if I have like a full understanding, but that's more on me than it is the book. I'm just like at the point in the year where I'm just struggling. So, but overall, I enjoyed it, and I kind of feel like it's a book that I may want to reread at some point.
Okay, let me give you an example of an unreliable narrator. Since you haven't finished the book, John and I could tell you a totally fabricated ending, and you would have no idea whether it was true or not.
Book. Right.
I thought you said you did not.
No, I did.
Oh,
I did finish the book, but unreliable narrator to me is something like I think of Memento. The way you kind of see things through a character's perspective, but they're not even seeing the story straight.
Yes.
And you find that out at the end.
Yes. Can you trust the narrator, I guess is the question.
Right. So I don't know if I missed something because there wasn't a point where I didn't trust the character that we were following.
Okay, I was looking up the unreliable narrator. They gave me an example of Life of Pi, and I haven't seen it, so great.
Yeah, so we're like
I read it a long time ago. Really good book.
Everything from Carney's from Carney's.
Yeah, we follow Ray Carney mostly, and I even talk about his like his upbringing, his family, and everything after.
Are we in spoiler territory now?
Yes. So. Oh, okay. Did you? I don't know if you shared your initial thoughts, Tom.
I was hoping to get away with it. No.
Why you gonna make me go first?
My initial thought was I had to disengage it from not being the Underground Railroad because it's a very different story. But it is very well written and very well perceived, I guess is probably the word I want to use, in the sense that he makes some observations that and like John said, some of them are just funny. Some of the way things go up, and the narrator for the audiobook really brings that to light as well. So yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, I thought the narrator was really good. He also read Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas, which I enjoyed as well. But okay, spoiler territory. We can jump into that now. And since this is your book, I'll let Tom lead the discussion.
That was the note I was going to make, that what you say, what he perceives things well. He also actually relates things very well and actually like describes them in a very in a decent detail. Like I had a visual of almost everything without even having a full like description of what. I mean, that could be the film talk in me, but I'm just saying, like I literally had like every scene mapped out as he was writing it, and it was easy.
Well, the other thing is like, so on Book of the Month, they give you like 4 kind of words to describe the books that they provide. And so Unreliable Narrator was one, NYC was another, and then movie-ish was another term that they used to describe it. And like I had to go back and look how they described it, because like as I was reading it, I was like, I'd love to see this as a movie.
Yeah.
It definitely had that movie-ish quality to it. Like I could already see it, and that's probably why my brain kept going back to The Bronx Tale.
Right. It was done like a screenplay.
So, sorry, go ahead, Tom.
No, hey, if the discussion's going, there's really no reason to lead it. That's the best kind of moderation. But yeah, the story is set in the early to the late 60s in New York City, and involves one Ray Carney, who is a self-described bent, not crooked, bent, furniture salesman, and he has his own store in, I can't remember, was it Manhattan? I don't remember where it was, or was it actually in Harlem? No, it would have to be in Harlem for the story to make sense.
I think they just said like what street it was on. I don't know.
Yeah. Not being in New Yorker, that meant nothing to me, but so. But I usually gauge the writing of a novel by how many quotes I have highlighted from it. And this one I had 14, so I thought the writing was quite good. What did you think about Carney's, I guess, life and his relationship with his cousin?
I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a topic I've been thinking about a lot lately in regards to it's hard to maintain a relationship, like a familiar relationship, and we still do it. But, when you have family members that you love and care about, and for whatever reason might be dragging you down or getting you in trouble, or just not living by the same code of ethics, or, whatever the case is, it just makes for a very complicated relationship. And I'm not sure. I think it used to be a lot more cut and dry to me. Like, I know at some point I thought, like, whether they're family or not, if they're not being moral, upstanding citizens, then you should just cut them off. I don't know if I necessarily feel that way anymore. But I think, his relationship with Freddie was just really complicated, but he obviously cared about him because he was definitely getting into, I don't know, that's scary. I kept asking myself, what would I do when you already have like all these different point of contacts, whether it be like the cops or the other people in organized crime or whatever. They're like, where's Freddie? Where's Freddie? Where's Freddie? And Carney was ready to lie to all of them to protect Freddie.
Yep. And also help him get out of the city. So, which would have been the plan, but
damn it, Freddie.
Unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, I like how he traced it from childhood. Like, Freddie was always getting him in trouble. It's, I didn't mean to. It was like, but here we are, again, sort of thing. Now, this time, Carney was not associated with it. It was his own, doings that got him in trouble. But he's now co-opted into it by Freddie to essentially save him. So
that's a harsh situation too, especially growing up in the, like, when your dad is actually in the business,
right?
In the business, and then like trying to like do actually good by yourself and get out away from what your family has started, or it's a legacy.
It's a legacy that you don't want to be part of.
Right. So like, but that seems like a rough situation. Period, all the way around.
And that's how he got his money.
Damn it, Freddie.
I mean, as far as like Carney as a character, I think I'm a little surprised by what kind of started setting things in motion for him to start kind of planning and plotting. Because it seemed like it all started with the deal with trying to be part of the Dumas Club. and wanting revenge on that guy.
Yep.
Which, I mean, I get it. Nobody wants to be like ripped off or anything like that, but it did seem kind of petty for him to like that be the turning point.
You can't let that slide.
Yeah. Plus, he says in the book that, he takes after his father, who always held a grudge.
So, okay. So it was a tick.
Yeah. So, and what it got him into later, it's like, was it worth it? To him, apparently it was.
I mean, satisfaction.
But that was such a like, that had such a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just that kicking off and like bringing so many other people down, and he was able to get into the Dumas Club after that.
Yes. Well, now that the one guy was the leader, I guess, was gone, it was, oh yeah, we'll take it, but it just goes to show you who's in and who's out, and it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I noticed is throughout the book, repeatedly, there's so much of the world that people don't know about. I mean, myself as a white reader has no idea about what Black Harlem is, number one. But he also makes the point that Ray, when the policeman walks him around on his, while he was picking up the money, it's like he didn't know that was like a racket, like a numbers racket place, and it was like right next to a shop, So, it's just interesting how ignorant we are of, the totality of the world, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then I think what struck me is just, this is classified as literary fiction, but like it's obviously got historical elements in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what strikes me is just how little things change.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
except they do.
Right. They do. But at the same time, they don't, because we're still having, these same arguments, same issues, same, I don't know if it was like, I don't know, there was some officers that were on trial recently, and I know they were charged. I don't know if that meant they were going to jail exactly. But in this book, obviously they're like, yeah, that cop's never going to jail. That cop's never going to see jail. So like there's minor progress is being made, but still the same things kind of going on.
50 years later.
Yep. Compare that to how they raised the old neighborhoods to make room for the World Trade Center.
Oh, right.
So, you have that going on as well. So, like I said, he puts these things together, and it's like, yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same, which is, true. But I'm trying to think of. It was also interesting to me how like Ray's relationship was to like the job that he, that they were going to do, and what happened, once, the monster that they robbed, he got wind of it and, started looking for him, and it's like, well, I can rat this person out, then, I'll be good, and, they won't think of me, and that sort of a thing. So it reminded me of the No Honor Among Thieves sort of book,
yeah.
But it was also interesting that, for even before the events of the novel, it was clear that he was taking stuff which, had a 5-finger discount attached to it, and was moving it along.
Right.
Moving it along.
And he was just like not asking questions about it.
Even how that was portrayed from the character by the author, even the way the character was like, dude, it came in. I never even thought twice about it. It came in, I sold it, it made me money. And what about its way? Hey, he was like, I never even, who cares?
But I think in his mind, I think he's running relative to his father. It's like his father was much, much more involved in that role than he ever was. So to him, then, yeah, I'm, like he says, I'm not crooked, I'm bent,
I mean, if you don't officially know where it came from, then.
Right.
What is that called? Plausible deniability?
Yes. And how things turned on him, with getting ratted out by the jeweler.
Yo.
So
but it wasn't Okay, that part was confusing to me because was there also a Moskowitz? There was a Moskowitz and an Aronowitz?
Yeah. One
Okay.
got sent up the river.
Okay, so, but I think he said that it was Moskowitz that had ratted him out.
That's possible, but it's been like a month since I read the book. So.
Okay, I mean, like I just
I'm
read
lucky
it today,
I got
so
it.
I'm pretty sure that's what he
name.
said because, like, when I first read it, I was like, really? Because I thought it was the guy that they had a good relationship because he was teaching him about the jewels and stuff. And then I went back and I was like, no, I think the name was Moskowitz, not Aronowitz. Yeah. So I didn't want it to be Aronowitz because I don't know, I liked their relationship in the story. I didn't want him to have betrayed him. So I'll have to like go back and like double check. But I'm pretty sure it was Moskowitz, though I don't know the relationship between like all of them. Because Aronowitz had told him that, who was the other guy? I don't know, his name started with a B, that he was just being cheated out of money.
Oh yeah, he cut out the middleman. Like literally, he took the middleman away from her. He's like, "You're gonna work for me now. You can make."
Right.
Should I go check that?
Yeah, probably. Okay. That's our doorbell.
BRB.
But yeah, and it's just another example of you don't know until you know, sort of a thing, in the sense that, you know, when the second jeweler, when he starts, you know, his business association with the second jeweler, it's like, you know, he didn't realize how much he was being cheated by the first one.
Right.
But yeah, to his credit, like you said, you know, the second jeweler actually teaches him, like, okay, this is, you know, what you look for, and you know, that's what you know, you don't do this or you don't do that. So I thought it was interesting. You know, I was really interested to see how that would play out with the was it the necklace, or I can't remember, the jewel or
Did
whatever.
everybody hear that?
I don't know.
Oh, no, sorry.
I think it was with the necklace.
Yeah, and like when he took it to get, you know, see if he could fence it, you know, sell it. You know, it was like, well, to me that was like, yeah, well, maybe he would sell it, but like you said, you know, it's just way too hot. You know, I can't move anything that big, you know, because everything's being watched. So
there's a lot that I kept wanting to look up. And also, I mean, I don't know how much I necessarily want to know about money laundering, but like, right. I guess I was kind of curious.
But be careful how you look it up.
Yeah.
I guess I was just curious as to like
how to launder money.
I feel like I understand the concept at base level, but I don't understand, like, because at some point they were saying something about cleaning money with foreign carpets or foreign rugs or something like that, and I'm like, I just don't understand how that works. Is it just like, yeah, I don't get it. But
well, in basic terms, you know, you buy a carpet for X amount, and then you go and sell that carpet to somebody else for that amount. So that's, you're transferring, that becomes the money that you're transferring. Is one way to do it.
And if you're using a business to transfer the money around, you can dodge taxes and also do there's a lot of illegal things you can do with having a fake business.
You know, like if you started buying gift cards for Amazon, you know, and then, you know, you could buy things on Amazon and sell them. You know, that's another way, you know, just hypothetically speaking.
Okay, so then essentially nobody's questioning the value of the money that you're sending someone because it's
yeah, they want it to be untraced. You don't want to trace back to you. But you have all this money. It's like, well, how can I, you know, have it for me but not be traced back to me? So that's the principle, I believe. Not that I've ever laundered money.
Right, I don't know how that business works.
Yeah. Anybody who's listening, you know. So what about his relationship with his employees? Carney's.
Was like Pepper one of his employees who was like
he became one, yes.
Technically, yes.
Yes. I was talking about the secretary and his assistant.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I only remember like one reference to him saying something about the secretary labeling the Egon sculpture or something, and that nobody asked about that sculpture. I don't know how much I remember about his relationship with the.
Yeah, I don't actually remember much about the secretary. I know the guy that he works with him.
Mhm.
He was there to watch the store when Carney was away, and he even had a little tick about leaving him alone with the store, didn't he?
Yeah, at first, but it became essential once,
Oh yeah.
to get done what you had to get
Once
done.
business started,
Yeah.
right? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I.
I think the most. Go ahead.
Just he has he still has a friendly relationship with his coworker, like with his employees, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, he does. But I think the most telltale thing is he closed the store when he was really in hot water, so that they wouldn't get, whacked. And he brought in, like you said, his associate as his bodyguard to watch the store instead. So I thought that was telling.
I mean, he even had concerns about them going after his family.
Oh yeah,
at some point.
So that that's what I was trying to get at. It's like he's treating them like family in a way. He's trying to shield them from the decisions he's making, unlike his cousin who does the opposite.
Wow. But even despite that, I still feel, I don't know if it's maybe having a sibling and knowing how I used to get in trouble for my siblings. But, while Freddie was still running around doing stupid shit and getting people in trouble, it still felt very sincere at any point when it was mentioned that he would say, I'm sorry. Sorry that I got in trouble. Yeah. So
he just doesn't think ahead. It's
like, right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, Carney even says, he does, like he doesn't realize that things can go wrong, and they almost always do apparently, because we're in the situation again. So, but going back to the family, I thought that was one of the better scenes in the book, where he went from, I guess it was from the store back to his house when he realized that his family might be in danger, and they weren't, thankfully, but just realized they could be, given the thing. But by the same token, his working with the one Harlem, was it boss or whatever, crime boss, got him the money to buy the new house, so he could upgrade his living conditions. So it's like, is that how you have to advance, in that context? I don't know.
I mean, those were the kind of situations they were in. It's such a different world to me. Like, I can't even imagine having to make those kinds of decisions or being involved in those kinds of things in order to move up or provide for your family, or like whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and Carney's attitude seems to be, look, I need to support myself and my family. What are my options? And this is one of them, and he's taking it. But he doesn't go, it's not like he enjoys it or anything. It's just something that you do to survive.
That he has to, right.
So, but what else in the book struck you?
I would like to point out the Dorvey chapter.
It's more like a section, I feel like.
Okay, all right. It is more of a section, but it's titled one of the sections, or one of the is titled Dorvey, and I didn't know that when I was listening to it. Like I went back to look how to spell it, and I was actually looking up the Dorvey, the actual
French spelling.
Is it what?
French spelling.
That. Yeah, but
it's probably pronounced the same way.
It's like so it's a phenomenon of using a 2 sleep cycle, and that your first waking period would be like 100% on the nose, like very productive, like using all of your willpower, your brain power, that type of thing. But when I looked it up when I actually looked up his spelling of it, this is the only place that exists. So all of everything the SERP gave me was this book, Colson Whitehead, and articles. So I actually tweeted at him and I told him, and I said, "This is brilliant, by the way."
Yes.
But he gave me an article link back to it, like some part of where he got some of his research from.
Oh, no.
So,
oh wow, that's nice.
Yeah, but I was very, very happy with learning that information. That was new info that I got from his writing, at least.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few things that I wanted to highlight. I probably only highlighted like a couple though.
Right.
But one thing that I kind of started thinking on, which is not necessarily a big part of the story, but it's just something that I've been thinking about a lot lately because of how consumeristic I feel like the US is, and how, now we buy something, we break it, we buy something new, right? Like repair is not really something we do as much. And I grew up with very old immigrant Cuban family. And so growing up, like I remember them going to the shoemaker to get their shoes repaired. I remember like the watchmaker to get watches repaired. So like, I just remember how much repair was involved in my life growing up that I kind of miss that. I miss the idea of having someone that you can have a relationship with and always bring your watch to or your shoes to, and like, it's kind of mentioned in this book with Aronowitz. And I don't know, I was just thinking about how I kind of want that back. I hope that's sort of reintroduced into society. I hope we go back to that. Not that it doesn't still exist, because I'm sure there's still shoemakers, but I think when you talk to younger people today, like them taking their shoes to a shoemaker is not really something that they would even think about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Cobbler, is that a pie?
So that was just something that I had thought a lot about as I was reading through the beginning. I kind of missed that time.
We really should start bringing a lot of that back as humans, because we've been wasting a lot of crap lately.
And but the value in someone having that kind of specialty, like just the mentality of like, if it's broken, let me fix it versus let me just fucking throw it away and get something completely new. It's just I know part of the thing is that we kind of don't even make things the same way, like with the same quality as we used to. Obviously, if you have a watch that's thousands of dollars, you're not just going to buy a new one. You're going to try to repair it. But I still kind of just wish there was more of that now.
Well, he pretty much starts out the book that way, like you said, with the old TV vendor. And his story eventually disappeared as well.
I mean, my grandfather, he doesn't really, does he still, I don't even know if he still lives in the US. I think he has a home in Puerto Rico. I think he spends a lot of time over there. But for a long time, my grandfather owned a sewing machine repair shop.
Oh, there you go.
And like basically the majority of my family that came here from Cuba, all the women, they became seamstresses when they came here. So like sewing machines were a really big deal in my family. Yeah. So he learned how to repair them, and he had a sewing machine repair shop. And, I remember being in there and seeing all the sewing machines. Or it's just, I guess it was something that was just really close to my family that I think about.
He also, going to the social context of the book, he has hints of it throughout the novel as to why people would be moved to riot in Harlem. Just based on what's going on. It's like, the white policeman does this and nothing is done, and well, yeah, but it's not, and it's just a this is the way the world works, and this is their characters' reaction to it, which plays out in the real world as well. So, which is something I appreciate. But
there's so much corruption.
Yep.
And I think he really just drives home the idea of like knowing the corruption exists, but having to kind of live within that system, and the passing of the envelopes is how he referred to it.
Yes.
That everything kind of runs on those envelopes.
There's one. I thought I saved the quote about the envelopes, but I guess I didn't. But and there's also bits of unexpected humor in the book, like when one of my favorites was when who was his bodyguard? Was it him?
Pepper.
Who?
Pepper.
Pepper. Was it Pepper that was Pepper the one that bought his girlfriend's dinette sets?
I don't know.
I think the answer is yes, because that's the way Carney was going to pay him.
Okay, I think I do recall that now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was funny because it's like how can they expect me to like make me something to eat when they don't have any of the things? It was great. It was a funny. I wish I could remember the scene word for word, but I can't at this point. But yeah, it was really good.
I think he's also trying to give him a recliner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Pepper got deeper into Carney's situation, yeah. So, but again, apparently, business can be transacted, not like that. So,
I thought the running correction of Van Wyck.
Yes.
And like I had to keep asking myself, like when I lived in New York, what did I say? Like,
yeah, right.
Did I say Van Wyck? I think I did say Van Wyck. Like the Van Wyck Expressway. I think so.
That's all I've ever heard it expressed as. I never knew there was an E at the end. To be honest, I thought it was WICK, not WYKE. What is it?
No,
what
I don't think it's
spelling?
spelled. I think the spelling is the same. It's just pronounced
WYCK. I thought it was.
Yeah, I don't think there's an E in there.
WICK.
Y.
YCK.
Yeah, WICK.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Like.
Yeah, but like just like around here, Forsyth, we all say it differently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, and we say Houston Street instead of Houston Street in New York.
Right.
But you get people from out of town. They're gonna say
anybody from Texas gonna say Houston.
I know.
that ain't
if somebody stopped me in New York was like, "Where's Houston Street?" Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Texas. That's where that's at. We say it differently.
But I just there's just so much that I want to look up now. Because I'm just like vaguely familiar with these things from living in New York and like Rockefeller Center and just like hearing about these names and these people and their contributions to the city. And I definitely want to know more.
And that's one of the most appealing features of Whitehead's writing to me is that he floats these ideas like, I'm not entirely sure that this is true. And I probably should know if it is or isn't, but I don't. Now I have to look it up. So, and that was one of them. But
I mean, I know they even mentioned like Burlington, which I assume was probably like related to like the person who owned the Burlington Coat Factory and stuff.
Because it was Burlington's before that, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then like I think he said like Bella Fontaine or something like that. Which I had to look up because I wasn't exactly sure what that was, but I guess it's a certain type of furniture brand.
Oh yeah, because he was that the one where he was going to be the first black salesman?
Possibly.
I think the answer is yes, but I could be wrong. And that was the whole thing too. So that reminds me of how with the Dumas Club, that's the center of power in Harlem, and then he compares it to whatever the white center of power and how much bigger that is. And you get a sense of that when I think it's the Van Wyck construction company that is building the World Trade Center. And it's like, yep, mine. But the thing of it is, one of the interesting concepts is that it's like you don't have to be at ground zero, kind of thing. You just have to be close enough. Yeah,
I remember that now.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to be first in line.
You can be second.
You can be second and still make it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So yeah, a lot of interesting ideas coming out of it. So And
I
then you
agree.
have the at the end or toward the end when he confronts was it the lawyer that he confronts in the skyscraper?
I think so.
Yeah, and that was an action-packed scene as well. So I just thought it was very well done.
This definitely should be a screenplay.
I mean, I hope so. I hope it gets picked up. I think it would be a very, very interesting movie. Something, and I think it was just mostly the way he described it, but another scene that just kind of sticks in my head. And this was about, crap, there's so many names. Not Chet the Vet. Who was the other guy whose name started with a C?
Chink Montague?
Yeah. So I think they were saying how, Chink Montague had done a lot of stuff and hurt a lot of people, but during the holidays he would throw hams.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, in there, he was saying something like he would throw hams at the people during the holidays and people would take them either not realizing that he had killed one of their family members or being so hungry that they didn't care.
Right.
And I was like, damn.
Think about that.
Being so hungry you didn't it's the only place I'm going to get food right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that bad guy.
Yep.
That sucks.
And so I feel like he just, he dropped a lot of nuggets like that. Just the way he described certain things were just very, very impactful and memorable. I kind of liked Zippo and the way that character was written and portrayed, and his interest in photography and kind of the he still had his own quirks and he was still getting in trouble in his own ways, but the just the quirkiness of him because he was young, and I guess just the way he kept saying, "Oh, it's a cemetery scene." It's how we're filming. He's pretending to be dead. We're doing a cemetery scene.
Yep.
And he just seemed like a very naive kid, just being signed up to take pictures. Or also the mention of Polaroids kind of brought me back.
Yeah. This is the third place I've heard people talking about having actual physical photos again, because people don't do that anymore. There's how are you going to show your kids photos if your computer dies? Yeah. That's the analog is going to start coming back. I'm sure.
I mean, I think there's still people who have pictures hanging up in their house and
that are fading.
I don't know. I just had AJ's graduation pictures printed.
Yeah. You were probably one of 3 parents that actually got them printed.
Paid for them.
But yeah.
As an example of one of the little bits of humor in here, this is toward the end of the book, is sure, little Jesus is good for some individuals, but you do unto others riding shotgun on the job.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I read that. I don't know if that was around the same time, because there was another thing that I was kind of filed into the back of my head. I don't remember which character it was, but a character worked somewhere where somebody ate their sandwich and they were holding a grudge.
Oh, that was the policeman. I was the policeman.
Having been eaten, I know that scene was written pretty funny. I was like, okay.
Well, some people are like that.
Dude, it blows my mind that someone could just walk in, new first day, second day on the job, and just eat somebody's lunch and not even care. I'm like, what kind of psychopath, sociopath?
See, there you go. See, apparently it's a big deal.
I'm hungry. What? It was in the fridge.
So
that's one of those. Who raised you? Who does that? But
a fridge that was always open for them to grab and take from. Nah, what I liked about Zippo was that it was I guess your naivety is what you were focusing on, is that he was like, oh, I do all these things. Oh, I don't need to do anything. I just want to take the pictures. Like, I just do the things for the other people. It's kind of weird, but hey, it works and they pay me. Like, how else are you gonna do stuff like that without like ending up in those positions? You know, like somebody's be like, hey, I want you to take really bad photos of me. No, but wait, I need the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the freaking motivation for the characters in this book. So,
the other thing, and it's just like interesting to reflect on things, because obviously I wasn't alive in the 60s, but like I kind of remember when Flash was like single use. Like, you'd buy a strip that had maybe 5 flashes on them. Yeah, and you would hear it like snap each time you used it. And so hearing that being described in the book, was that also kind of brought me back. I felt like I wanted to describe that to my son, because that's just something that we take for granted.
I'm surprised you didn't buy
like,
one.
When I take a picture on my phone, the flash just goes off. It just does its thing. That had to be a lot of money, but I don't know how much those things cost. I just remember them.
Yep.
And they're loud.
Yeah.
It's a gunshot.
So.
Well, since you mentioned the photos, the blackmail, I guess, job, that was interesting. Plus, how was the leader of the Dumas Club? I can't remember his name. How he had absconded to South America, was it? With his ill-gotten gains. So, I just thought it was interesting. You never know, these people in positions of power, that are they screwing you or not? In this case, the answer is yes.
I know, it seems like the answer is usually yes.
The TV's kind of showing the rich kind of assholes at the moment, or not just TV, but all of literature.
You could make the supposition that do positions of power draw people like that, and is that the reason why they,
makes sense too.
Yeah. So.
Well, I kind of feel like there's a certain type of ruthlessness involved in kind of moving through the positions of rank to get to that power. Unfortunately, I hate that that's the case, but
so going back to the Dumas Club, do you think his father-in-law lobbied against him, like to get him not to join, like within the membership?
Wasn't he almost like kind of like, you don't want to do this because he thought he was still on the kind of straight and narrow? Or was he trying to protect him from it? But because when he talks to, he actually talks to his wife about it. She's like, well, he's the worst one. So interesting. I didn't actually. I don't think I paid. I registered a lot of that information about the hierarchy there.
Yeah, but his father was already a member, and according to Carney, he thought that his father-in-law was trying to get him not to be enrolled in the club. So whether that was true or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't want your son-in-law doing, seeing what you're doing if you want your daughter to have a high idea of you.
Yep. Plus, too, later on in the book, we see the fallout from, because apparently usually his father and mother-in-law had investments with the leader of the Dumas Club, which went south. And they ended up having to move, if I recall correctly, from their big house. So it's like, I don't know, not schadenfreude, but just sort of like a balancing of the scales, so to speak, I thought. So like you just never know.
I think we saw instances of that a few times in this book.
Mhm.
A little everything just kind of balancing out after the fact, and then just yeah.
Plus, we should point out that the book is told in 3 or 4 episodes, and each of them takes place in like a different year, and often they're like 2 or 3 years apart. So, we're dropped into, okay, here's Ray in I think it's like 1960. The next one's here is in 1962, and what's different with him. So,
all right. So, I guess we're far enough. Did Freddy? Did he or did he not actually die?
The implication I got was yes, he did.
Okay, because there was like 2 instances in the book where Carney's in his head thinking about, well, how are we going to play this out? If I go this way, this happens, Freddy dies. Okay, if I go this way, if this happens, Freddy dies. So I just wanted to make sure that if whether or not one of those scenarios actually all right.
They beat him so bad that he died of his injuries.
I do remember that now. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So,
damn it, Freddy.
Yeah, seriously.
So, unfortunately,
he also seemed to have his own like naiveness about him as well. Because in that scene where he was just like at Carney's furniture store, sitting on the couch eating a sandwich. And Carney's like, everybody's freaking looking for this guy, and he's here sitting here like having a sandwich.
See, that's the kind of a guy who will eat you somebody's sandwich in the fridge.
What was the story he was telling? Is all I wanted to do was get a sandwich.
Yeah. And then, was that when the riots started? Was that?
I think so.
Was
he was walking through all of the stuff going on, and he was like, I'm guessing maybe he was high as hell trying to find a sandwich. So everything was going on around him, and he's just walking through, going, I just want a sandwich, guys.
Yep.
Like that kind of naivety is crazy.
But just the way he was like, "Oh, you gave me the key 7 years ago, and you never asked for it back. So you wanted me to have it."
Yep.
It's like, wow.
Well, he's not wrong.
I mean, if he never used it, maybe you would forget about it.
So, but going back to the sandwich, if he planned that's brilliant. And even if he didn't, it's still brilliant. I think, like, here's the guy that, like you said, who would you eat somebody else's sandwich out of the room? Well, now we know.
We just stumbled. Oh, here it is.
Yeah,
that's funny.
But anything else before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I don't think I have anything else.
I think this has just been a great portrayal of all of the gray lines that can be found in certain areas of society. It's just really just depends on which side of that line, and most people are just really tiptoeing on the tightrope, and I don't want to go either way. So crazy. So who's going first for final thoughts? I'll do it. Fine. All right. Let's get it over. I'm going to go ahead and give it 5 stars. I enjoyed it. It taught me something. I laughed. I didn't have a hard time going through it. There are things that I probably missed that I can probably get the second time around, but it wasn't something that I felt like I had to rewind. No, I missed something or something, it was off. But I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
5 stars.
I think I would give it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I do want to reread it, and so I guess I reserve maybe changing it at a later date. Changing my rating at a later date. Right now, it's just 4 stars only because while I enjoyed it, I'm not sure I would necessarily be shouting it from the rooftops, recommending it to everyone. Not that I don't know. It's like ratings tend to be like just this gut kind of feeling for me. But it's still really good. It's still really fascinating. There's a lot of things in it that I want to know about even more. I'm even more eager to pick up Nickel Boys. So I give it 4 stars, and I really enjoyed it.
I gave it a 4 stars because unfortunately it stands in the shadow of the Underground Railroad, and I know that I don't feel this way about this book that I did about that book. So, and I probably gave that one a 5 star. This one is close, but it's not quite there. But still, very, very well worth it. Well read. Very good book.
Absolutely, I agree.
Thank you, Colson.
So for December, we're reading something.
When Christmas Comes.
Okay, When Christmas Comes. I'm not sure who the author is. I'm trying to look it up.
I don't want to risk my connection by looking it up. That's what happened when I got.
You hit enter and go.
What the hell? There you go.
Okay, 1 second. When Christmas Comes.
Oh, I hope that's the title.
I think it is. When Christmas Comes by Andrew Clavin.
Yep.
Clavin?
Clavin?
Andrew Clavin. No, I don't do that. Right?
I started it, but that's a
What do
story
you think?
for another time.
Yeah, I started it too, but okay, yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait. See you in a month.
Yep.
So I guess it's like a kind of thriller-ish. It says a young librarian at the local elementary school is brutally murdered. There are witnesses, and her boyfriend Travis Blake confesses to the crime, but something doesn't quite add up because he is a third-generation Army Ranger. He was awarded the Silver Star for his heroism in Afghanistan, and so people just don't understand how someone, a beloved son of the tight-knit community, could commit such a grisly crime. So I thought it was interesting that I think it's the English professor that starts looking into this.
Yeah.
So not like a detective, but the English professor.
Yeah, it's Robert Langdon.
Yeah.
I remember you said that to me the other day, and I couldn't stop laughing.
But yeah, so people start digging to kind of find out what's going on, because it just doesn't seem like the person who has confessed is actually the person who committed the crime. So, and there must be some Christmassy stuff in here.
I mean,
it's Chilling Twists. Yeah. I just watched that for the first time the other day.
You actually watched it?
For the first time ever.
Wow.
What did you think?
I liked it.
Okay.
AJ hated it.
Oh, I knew he was going to hate it.
Okay, so it says, When Christmas Comes is a seasonal tale of tradition, family, and murder. Its chilling twists are best experienced curled up by a burning Yule log. So, kind of like shuffling up the genres here a little bit.
So murders happen during Christmas. It's not Christmas oriented, but yes, it's like Die Hard. And Batman Forever.
Oh, God. All right, so that is what we are reading for December. So I think that's pretty much everything. Just a reminder, again, if you ever want to join us on camera for our book discussions, or if you want to be involved in selecting the books that we read, you can do that by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Libri Labra. Even if you're not ready to sign up, go check it out so you can see what other perks are available. And if you've made it this long, thank you for hanging out and listening to our discussion. Feel free to leave a comment or subscribe or whatever else. And thanks for joining us. So hope everyone has a wonderful holiday and a wonderful New Year.
Join us again.
See you in 2022.
Yeah, serious.